What's up, theology nerds? This is a Theology Nerd Throwdown. This is the place that you come to nerd out with your geek out. And today we are joined not only by you, theology nerds, you, the masters of geekery, we're also joined by the Culture Cast. That's right. Christian and Amy Hyatt, Slim Moon's peeps from Portlandia are also in this. This is a crossover podcast because this is the second live podcast from Columbus, Ohio at the Disciples of Christ General Assembly. And in this podcast, I know you may not believe this, but there's a denomination called the Evangelical Covenant Church, and they had two ministers who were church planting in Portland who surprisingly came to the conclusion that every human being, regardless of what body parts they had and who they loved, could come to their church. And they did not like it. Well, the disciples of Christ were like, hey, you know what we're into? Letting everyone come to the table of the sweet Lord Baby J, and you should join us. And we had two ministers, and they were there talking about it at this podcast. Not only that, afterwards, we may have gone to Waffle House. I paused because I love Waffle House. Anyway, we also had some live music by Populis, and I humiliated Phil Snider. That's right, Brentwood Christian Church, Springfield, Missouri. Your minister got humiliated by me in a postmodern philosophical preach-off. I'm sorry. Well, I don't know if I actually won or not, but you'll find out in this episode. But I just wanted to go ahead and taunt him because it's always awesome when you get to have a monologue and taunt someone and try to humiliate them in public on the internet. Like, nothing is more Christ-like than reminding Phil Snider, that's right, Phil, that you tried to bring the sermonic ruckus, the homiletical genius, and I humiliated you in front of 100 of your Disciple of Christ peers. That's right. We may have had a quote from a postmodern philosopher in a random Old Testament text, and we're told to preach for 3 minutes, and you did great. The only problem was great is not perfect, and you had to preach off with moi. I'm sorry. I hope your ego's rebuilt, because November 5th to 7th, when we're together at Subvert the Norm in your hometown, and Jack Caputo and Just Catherine Keller, that would be two JCs, Jack Caputo, Just Catherine, are in his house at the Subvert the Norm 3 live homebrewed Christianity podcast, and we have a postmodern improvisational sermon rematch. I just want you to know I'm going to give you a chance to redeem yourself, but I'm going to hydrate before that. I'm going to be prepared, so you better be prepared. But if they want to come, if anyone listening to this right now says to themselves, what would it be like to go to Subvert the Norm 3, the frontier of figuring out what postmodern, post-colonial race and class theory means for the living church? If they wanted to experience that, they could use the code when they got their ticket. HBC STN, that would be HBC Homebrewed Christianity, STN Subvert the Norm, and give the cheapest ticket possible. Boom, shakalaka laka laka. Shaq said that once when he tried to rap, and I just said it. And it makes me the not so tall Aristotle, because he was the big Aristotle. You know what I'm saying? That's right. The three of you laughing watch TNT pregame NBA days. Anyway, come on out. November 5th to 7th, and the day before, November 4th, is a Theology Nerd boot camp, a one-day nerdalicious experience with moi and Jack Caputo. When philosophers talk about God. When philosophers talk about God, we're going to talk about it, and it's going to be me and Jack Caputo. Jack Caputo, one of the greatest living philosophers, and me, a person who somehow persuaded Jack Caputo to come do a whole day workshop. There are only 30 of you that can do said boot camp. So sign up now. Now's the best time to do it. And if you go sign up now, it's cheaper than when you sign up in 2 weeks. So do that jizunk. We're going to have like multiple sessions from like 9 in the morning on. And then at 5 o'clock, we'll take a 30-minute break, meet back up at a place for the final session, the Holy Spirit session. And that's the time where you get to drink, ask Jack Caputo questions, have dinner with him, and take selfies. So if you're a person who wakes up in the middle of the night, like me, maybe having an argument with Jack Caputo, Catherine Keller in their dreams, and you said to yourself, what would it be like to take a selfie with Jack Caputo after a day hanging out with him, talking about philosophers who talk about God? Then this is the event for you. You're welcome for arranging it. I try to do what I can do. Anyway, this is the Theology Nerd Throwdown / Culture Cast live in Columbus, Ohio at the Disciples of Christ General Assembly. And I hope you enjoy it. In particular, I hope you enjoy the postmodern 8-ball bit at the end and my demolishing of Phil Snider. But, Amy and Christian do some awesome stuff as well. It's just, I'm just hoping Phil, his ego's not been so destroyed. He refuses to try a rematch. You hear that, Phil? Mm-hmm. Share the brew.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Homebrewed Christianity. This is a podcast, so it ends up on the internet with every mistake edited out. I just want you to know, as a well-trained youth minister, I had 3 intentional slips of the tongue, and you've only spotted 1 on Twitter, and we were giving 3 free T-shirts away. So, go ahead and play your guess along. But first, let me introduce you to the sexiest theologian with no hair, and trust me, there are a lot of them. Christian Pyatt.
Well, thank you. How you doing, man?
Oh, I am doing excellent.
Yeah?
Because I get to hang out with you.
Well, I feel the same way, you big fuzzy bear of theology brilliance.
No. Hey, Christian, you remember last night afterwards when I came up to you and said, hey, you know that everyone doesn't listen to every podcast that's on the Homebrewed Christianity podcast, even though all 5 of our shows are in the top 100 in religion. It's the 5 of the 7 that, like Jesus, gave people the planet and the board at the same time.
Yeah, and how is that possible?
I don't know. It's like everyone doesn't feel like dedicating 9 hours of their week hanging out with us on the internet, but it could be 4.5 if you listen to double speed.
That's right, and you actually sound pretty hilarious at double speed.
You sound like you are, but faster.
Wow, I'm blushing. Thank you so much.
I know.
Yeah. But I guess we should explain who we are. We have over here the grandfather and founder of the entire Homebrewed Christianity Network, the person to whom we owe all a debt of gratitude for being here tonight, Mr. Tripp Fuller, now Dr. Tripp Fuller.
Well, one of the things I was going to say, because it would be cool here, is that Homebrewed Christianity started out as a small group at First Christian Church in Winston-Salem in 2008.
There you go. That's right. And since then, you have grown the Homebrewed Christianity podcast into, 50,000 strong and a nationwide presence that shifts the conversation.
116 countries.
Hundreds. Wow.
I didn't even know there were that many.
I was going to say, is that include Malta or something? I mean, what? Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that even a country? I don't know.
I thought they counted Indiana as its own country.
No, that's Texas.
No, if you say it at Texas, they're like, thank you. I don't want to be associated with those 49. But anyway, right next to me, for everyone that's never listened to Culture Cast, is Christian Pyatt. And this man is a publishing fiend. Now, there was one book you started that I was looking forward to reading about how you were going to spend a year being like Jesus, and you quit.
Yeah, because I suck at being Jesus.
No, I thought it was a trick ploy where deep down you were like, no, it's a giant performance art piece about the radical grace of the gospel.
No, I just sucked at it. And turns out being like Jesus is really, really, really hard. And I didn't like it.
And what's amazing is Amy was real optimistic about the project.
Yeah, from the beginning. She was such a bastion of confidence and support and affirmation, because it didn't affect her life at all when I went on a month-long juice fast or gave away half of our shit. She was totally okay with all that. Right, honey?
Dude.
Right, see? Perfect.
Juice fasts are great after day 9.
Well, dude, yeah. It did things to my body I'm not allowed to describe on a podcast. You don't want me to, trust me.
But they might.
Well, you might. Come see me afterward.
Also, you have written a whole book series about banned questions.
That is correct.
Which is interesting.
Thank you.
Now if you're clapping and have not bought one from the bookstore.
Yes. Cokesbury Books over at the General assembly.
I know, not General Synod, but no one noticed me.
No one noticed that mistake. Oh well.
We're sitting there. Chat. Yo, you did now. No T-shirt for you.
It's easy after the fact, isn't it, sir?
Come on, universal participation.
Yes, there are 3 books in the series.
I know, and I noticed, I went by to check because I was thinking that all your books might be gone, and there's some still there.
Strangely, there are a few still there.
And there's one that's not as cool now, but is about to blow up because you're going to have the book turned into like TV movies and junk.
Actually, I've got my very first novel that I wrote, and we actually crowdfunded. There may be some folks here who supported it. Thank you for that. And it has actually paid off because I actually just spoke to the production company and scriptwriter today who is writing the pilot for a proposed and possible TV series based on the book.
Yeah, but why don't you say what the book is?
Blood Doctrine.
Blood Doctrine.
Yeah, right. See,
have you ever thought about a fictionized version of Anselm's atonement theory?
I'll get to that right after these other
all the kids
things.
getting, it's like a VBS book. All the kids get in the magic school bus, but instead of going into Stuart's mouth to see how colds work, you go into Jesus' blood to see all the sins that were forgiven by each drop. Blood Doctrine.
And this is why I write the books and he podcasts. Yeah, and actually we got a few of the copies of Blood Doctrine out there because nobody can actually seem to have it in stock. So, feel free to grab it.
And what about your self-hate book?
My self-hate book is
post-Christian.
Post-Christian. That actually fits very well after I'm a Jesus dropout. So, yes, about why the end of Christian empire is actually a good thing for the gospel.
Yeah.
And it's actually liberating Jesus and the gospel to be what it was meant to be in the first place, which was challenge empire instead of support and become empire.
Amen.
That's right.
Hey, you remember that part where you're going to ask me about my book that comes out in November?
No, I don't remember that at all. Moving on.
You skipped it last night.
Oh, you want to? Yes. Actually, this guy
I was just saying,
has a 10-book series coming out with Augsburg Fortress on Christology and theology.
Well, it's a homebrewed Christianity guide too, but the first one's on Jesus.
Yes.
And it's titled Liar, Lunatic Lord, or Just Freaking Awesome.
That is correct. So, you have 4 choices. It is not multiple choice, though.
Yeah.
You can choose all of them. And,
yes, you can both and that whole thing.
Absolutely. Fred Craddock would
all
approve.
Over that piece.
Yes. So, the first book's coming out.
It's getting released at the American Academy of Religion when I talk to Jürgen Moltmann.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to mention that last night and then ask Phillips Theological Seminary if they might want to be the sponsor and so that I could get a selfie with me, Josh, and Jürgen Moltmann.
Okay.
That was what I was going to do last night, but you cut me off.
I have an audience participation game. Every time Tripp Fuller name drops, you have to drink.
And tip.
Yeah, that's right. I would like a little bit more of affirming welcome for my co-host and Fear of the Week purveyor, Reverend Amy Pyatt. Oh.
The number one reason people now finish CultureCast episodes.
Because the Fear of the Week, we save it for dessert at the end. That's
Stay
right.
tuned. It's coming.
So we also want to bring up one of our very, very good friends and recent recipient of a major award, not a bowling alley nor a leg lamp, but a major award nonetheless. We have Phil Snider, our first guest, coming up to join us. Phil Snider, how the hell are you?
I'm doing well. How are you all doing?
We're doing all right. We're standing up here in front of 100 people trying to act like we know what we're doing. So that's not so bad. So why don't you first tell us what it is that you received yesterday in said major award?
Well, it was a major surprise, and I was tremendously honored. I want to say that I received the award along with the great Reverend Emily Bowen Marler, who I think may be in the house. She was at the Week of Compassion event. Are you here, Emily?
Emily, get your hand up.
Emily.
Well, we can clap for her anyway.
Yay, Emily.
Yes. Where I live, Springfield, Missouri, Emily and I both pastor at Brentwood Christian Church. And there were some amazing Disciples of Christ pastors, as well as clergy friends from other traditions, who were working to try to have the non-discrimination ordinance, which ensured equal rights to all people, especially LGBT people. The city council in Springfield, Missouri passed that, But then the religious right decided that this is a really terrible idea for the city of Springfield. And so they got a bunch of petitions to put it on the ballot to try to get it repealed. And so there were a bunch of us clergy folk, several disciples of Christ ministers, as well as friends and colleagues who worked to try to make sure that was not repealed. Now, Springfield, Missouri, it's the headquarters of a really large denomination that is very far to the right. And they have like 9,000 people in just one church in attendance on Sunday mornings. And they came out in full force, and they actually ended up galvanizing enough support to repeal the ordinance. So it was very disheartening for Springfield. If there's a glimmer of hope in that, the vote was incredibly close. Now, in the state of Missouri, Springfield is in the southwest part, so it's like the most conservative part of the state of Missouri, or among the most conservative parts of the state of Missouri. There was an amendment that would define marriage between a man and a wife that was on the ballot less than 10 years ago, and it passed 70-30 in the state of Missouri to ban same-sex marriage constitutionally by the Missouri with this Missouri constitutional amendment. And so the vote in Springfield, though, whenever it came to not wanting to repeal this non-discrimination ordinance, the vote was like 51-49. 51% who wanted to repeal it. So while we were brokenhearted that the non-discrimination ordinance was repealed, I mean, absolutely devastated, we took great hope in the fact that it almost passed in one of the most conservative areas in the United States, which says a lot about the ways that our nation is shifting. I think it's important to point out, in the midst of all the celebrations with the Supreme Court ruling, whenever on the day that the Supreme Court had its ruling to make sure that same-sex couples could be married across the United States, there was a video that went out by YouTube, and it included a clip from one of my speeches about standing on the right side of history. And I was elated to be a part of that clip, but the speech I gave actually was about the non-discrimination ordinance in Springfield, Missouri. And so people in Springfield or people in Missouri can still be fired or booted out of their house because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. So there's much to celebrate, but there's always more justice to come. And so GLAD was gracious to surprise Emily and me with a recognition for our work with the No Repeal effort in Springfield, Missouri. But truly, it was an award that Emily and I only feel comfortable accepting, along with the many other fantastic clergy people in Springfield, Missouri, including several Disciples of Christ friends.
Well, our time is up. Good night. No, sorry.
It's been fun.
Did I mention he's a fantastic preacher? Yes.
Oh, you're very kind, Christian. Thank you.
Phil, do you want to talk about what it's like to preach to a congregation in one of the most conservative parts of the country, what your sermon preparation is like, that process, and what the general themes of your messages are each Sunday and how that's received?
Yeah, sure. I mean, in some ways, being a member of the Disciples of Christ in the heart of the Bible Belt, and I know there are lots of us who can compete for like being the buckle of the Bible Belt. I went to Phillips in Tulsa.
I can't. I live in Portland.
Right.
No, he said Bible, not craft beer belt. It's a different thing.
Right. Sorry. You were saying.
Oh, no. So, I mean, I think that disciples have a voice to offer that folks are hungering for. And so in some ways, being a disciple of Christ minister in the Bible Belt allows us to cultivate a voice that people find very meaningful, people are drawn toward, because, frankly, there are not a lot of denominations and there are not a lot of churches with an ethos, a similar vibe. And so I think sometimes it's helpful in the Bible Belt to be able to provide an alternative. At Brentwood, we call ourselves Springfield's Bible Belt Alternative. And we realize, So
you're like the suspenders of Springfield.
Well, we actually should have gone with that. That's better.
We're the Bible suspenders.
You're welcome.
Yeah. That would be very...
Yes.
There it is.
Bringing them back.
Rainbow suspenders. Mort would be proud.
That's a very postmodern Bible Belt image, suspenders.
It is.
Yes.
Maybe we should delve more into that. Although I'm a little worried about delving into anything with these guys because I don't know where it's going to go.
You should be.
Yeah.
But if we got them printed up, you could have them at Subvert the Norm in November. Bible suspenders.
We could work on that. We could work on it.
With matching bow ties.
We could have Leviticus down each color of the suspenders.
Well, we had some fun with the No Repeal campaign because the denomination, whose name I'm not saying, I was actually once a part of it.
It's like Voldemort.
5 points.
The Voldemort of denominations, yes.
They have credit unions throughout the city, all right? And they're denominational credit unions. What does the Bible have to say about usury? There are so many more verses that would condemn lending with interest from a biblical perspective than would condemn what is often referred to as what the Bible says about homosexuality, when we know that the Bible actually doesn't say anything at all about two people of the same gender who love one another.
Brother.
It's correct. That is correct. So, yeah, and people should also understand that you are, it would be a misrepresentation to say that you are a progressive theologian or even a progressive preacher. Because we always think in this binary of conservative, progressive, or whatever. The fact is that Phil, despite I call him my Huckleberry, because he's a pretty spiffy, smartly dressed young man here.
Well, thank
right?
you.
Yes.
Yeah. I try to keep up appearances for Christian.
That's right. It's all for me, and I appreciate that. But the fact is, he's actually a radical theologian, and we're going to talk about a little more about that in the conference that you're holding later, Subvert the Norm. But the fact is, you, as a radical theologian, you've also written a book on preaching, not just preached weekly on this, but you've done a book, and about 14 years ago, I wrote a chapter for it, I believe, right?
Yeah. We've got some books in the house. There's a great book that's going to be coming out later this year. It's called Justice Calls, Sermons of Welcome and Affirmation, put together by an incredible group of progressive preachers from across denominations. One of the things I love about this collection is you end up getting a lot of different perspectives on the biblical text, and voices of affirmation and welcome. And it's a book that I think many of us as pastors can find very useful in terms of reflecting on ways that we can bring some of this conversation to our churches. But it's also a book that the publishers now are wanting to market towards a more evangelical audience because we see that a lot of these questions that mainliners have been asking for several years now, evangelicals are really beginning to ask. And so it's a book that I think is, as you say, you submitted like literally that sermon 3 or so years ago for it. Yep. And it's a book that's pretty much been done for about two or so years for the most part.
That books about open and affirming sermons is a little difficult to get published sometimes. So yeah,
it's a book that has gotten better. We've added actually some sermons in the last year that really take it to another level. And so I feel really weird talking about my own books, though. It's awkward for me.
Dude, nobody else will if you don't. I've learned that the hard way.
The number of situations that rules apply.
Fair enough.
So aside from the fact, so you've got this radical theology side, and most people look at that as like sort of a navel-gazing academic sort of thing, a heady thing that lives in the ether in abstraction. But you're also a hands-on, very practical, real-world ministry kind of person, and how to really engage people in the preaching context from behind the pulpit. So how many postmodern theologians would you say are out there who have actually written preaching books?
Yeah. Well, first, I think postmodern is kind of a word that, as Richard Rorty said, has been used so many times that it's kind of lost any meaning.
God, that is such a postmodern answer. My God.
There are a lot of times whenever we talk about postmodernism and whatnot, we have a bunch of different ideas that do come up in our minds. And basically the way that I approach this, like from a pastoral perspective, is looking at the context that marks our lives. A lot of times we want to think about faith in terms of, whether we believe in God or don't believe in God, in terms of what are the mental kinds of beliefs we have about God. And what we talk about are kind of these cognitive affirmations of faith. And what we neglect to recognize is that our hearts beat for justice. Our hearts beat for compassion. Our hearts beat for love. Our hearts beat for peace. Our hearts beat for equality. Whether you're a believer in God some of the time or none of the time or all of the time. And, I don't know about you, but I mean, there are days when I believe in God and there are days when I really am not sure. I mentioned a book title, not long ago to a friend, that I've thought about writing, called, Full-Time Pastor, Part-Time Atheist. And it's to play on the idea that belief in our world does not always come easy. And a lot of times in Christianity, whether, it's liberal or conservative, we tend to think about, the beliefs that remain locked in our minds rather than what I would like to think about, what our hearts are passionately in pursuit of or what is in pursuit of us. I like the theologian Jack Caputo a lot. And he talks about, what do we love when we love our God? Is it justice we love? Is it love we love? What do we love when we love our God?
He is a preacher. Because the answer was 5.
The answer to that question was actually just 5.
What was
How many people
But he
have
doesn't
written-
even remember the question.
How many people have written books on postmodern philosophy of preaching?
See, this is
okay.
a setup for a game where you were supposed to
Gotcha.
go, I don't know, maybe 4 or
Gotcha.
5.
Well,
But
David-
that was a great answer.
David Lose, John McClure.
Okay.
Christopher Rodkey.
Oh, Chris, yeah.
So, like a handful, right? Literally.
handful,
You are in
Phil Snider.
rarefied air. You were in
Very rare. Yeah,
very
and rarefied,
air.
book sales, too.
So you would say that when it comes to the convergence of radical theology and practical preaching, you are among the few who could take up such a challenge.
No. I mean, yes.
So what
for the
I
sake of the
mean
show.
is-
For the sake of the show, yes.
I mean,
Yes.
like, how hard is it to play a game?
For the
My
sake
God.
of the show.
Well, when you're playing a game for a postmodernist, apparently it's a huge, giant pain in the ass.
Well, anyway, occasionally on live homebrew Christianity shows we have preach-offs, and I just want you to know Tripp is 4-1.
Uh-oh.
And we are about to do ourselves a good old-fashioned preach-off. Who's ready?
Yes!
Yeehaw!
Okay, the other 85 of you have to leave. Let's try that again. Who is ready for a spontaneous preach-off? All right.
Not me.
So
Not
here
me.
are the rules of the game. It is going to be Mr. Tripp Fuller over here versus our guest. And I am going to give them each one postmodern theologian's quote, usually a dead white guy. That's almost a requisite. And a Hebrew text. And they have to, in 3 minutes, they have to tie these together. And
3 minutes.
Phil
No, that's
Snider.
Too much. That's too much.
when I say
Yes.
3 minutes, I mean 180 actual seconds on this planet based in, I know, it's a binding construct, this time thing.
Pythagorean time.
Postmodern, we'd never refer to themselves as
Just
postmodern.
hand
It's
him
always
the
other
quotes.
people that want to call them.
That's right. That's right. So you have 3 minutes. I am going to give you your quote, and then I'll give you your text, and you have 3 minutes to knock
I
it-
first?
Yes, you are first.
The first rule of coming on Homebrew Christianity is not to go up against Tripp in anything.
Well,
You're
my
screwed.
friend, I did tell you that right before you came up here, and now I'm pretty much throwing you under the bus.
All right.
So, your quote is...
Hold on just a second. Like Tom Cruise in what's the Jack Nicholson movie, You Can't Handle the Truth? I feel a bit like this,
There you go. That's right.
He's all nervous before
Be
it
a good
goes
man.
up.
Yep.
Before you read the postmodern quote, we should all snap our fingers or something.
That's right. Okay. So, the quote is from your friend and mine, Peter Rollins, from The Idolatry of God. And it says, "Love is the crazy, mad, and perhaps ridiculous gesture of saying yes to life, of seeing it as worthy of our embrace and even worthy of our total sacrifice." Got it?
Yeah, can you actually place it here whenever you're done
I
reading
will
it?
when I'm
That'd be
done.
good.
I'm
Thank
not
you.
finished.
Okay.
He's scared.
Now, the quote, or the text, is Genesis 22, verses 1 through 4, which, of course, every disciple in here knows. Right, that's what I thought.
Cricket. Choo, choo, choo.
Is the sacrifice of Isaac. After these things, God tested Abraham and said to him, "Abraham," and he said, "Yo." And he said, "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains, of which I shall tell you." So Abraham rose early in the morning, saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him and his son Isaac, and he cut the wood for the burnt offering and arose and went to the place of which God had told him. 3 minutes starts.
Whoa.
Hold on, let me read Pete's quote again.
Why don't you read mine to me while he thinks about it?
I don't think so.
Tripp.
I don't think so.
You're that optimistic.
That's not how this works.
All right.
Okay.
He is one of 5 people that have written books on this.
Okay, go for it.
So, like Abraham takes a son up to be sacrificed, and we have laws against doing this kind of thing in our land. All right,
We do.
whenever Abraham puts that knife up, ready to take the life of his own son, we should have him arrested for such an act. And I think many of us are rightly horrified by the notion of what he did. If somebody was to do that today, we find it incredibly problematic. And when we look at a text like that singularly, as the story of one Abraham and Isaac, who begins to take the life of his own son, and we begin to be horrified by that act, and we think that he should be put into jail. We forget that the daily mechanisms of the world in which we operate put to death thousands of Isaacs on a daily basis. We are horrified by the acts of individual displays of violence. Yet so often we turn a blind eye toward the way that the daily systems and structures of life, of existence, deny life and take away existence.
Preach it.
The call of love, which Pete, who I have lots of theological differences with, the call of love is not to some sort of sentimental warm fuzziness. The call of love rooted in the biblical tradition, in the theological traditions that we hold dear, is a call that asks us to reflect on the injustices of society, because the call of justice is connected to the call of love. Whether you believe in God or not, our hearts beat for love, our hearts beat for justice, and for us to say yes to the affirmation of love, to say yes to life, it's to pay attention and to listen to the call of love in our lives that is beyond the warm fuzzies and asks us and challenges us to look into the difficult complexities of life, to face them head on, to not wait for God, the big other, to come down and save us from these kinds of things, to respond so that we might be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ, to share love and life, so that those who are killed on a daily basis by the mechanisms of this society might find life and find it to the full.
Phil Snider.
2 minutes and 37 seconds, mind you.
Okay, Phil, be honest. The great Joey Jeter, my preaching professor from Bright, said that you should always have a sermon in your back pocket. You had that in your back pocket.
I did not. I'll tell you what I had going on in my mind. It's that feeling on Sunday morning whenever you start saying something, you're like, oh God, where am I going with this? What's going, oh, I started this. How do I get out of this? And then in your mind, you're saying to yourself, okay, do they notice that I don't know where I'm going? That's what was going on in my mind.
All right.
And the piece on Abraham and Isaac, it's, Jacques Derrida talks about that in the book, The Gift of Death.
I feel like he's getting extra time.
Yeah, your time is up. I'm sorry.
Because all I know is that when Christian said we were going to play this game, he looked at me like, you may not be my friend when you see what I picked.
I mean,
I am
Tripp
so
owns
excited
this
to give this to Tripp Fuller.
Tripp, do
owns
I
this
detect a note of fear?
Is a little
Fear of the Week's coming in a minute. Don't worry.
All
but
right.
Tripp, is a little bit of pee coming out right now? Because it should be.
I can't preach in an Irish accent.
Oh, all right. Well, we won't make you do that, but this is just as challenging. So, your quote comes from Slavoj Žižek.
Slowboy. What?
Yeah, Slowboy. That's what I said.
Look,
Slowboy
now
Žižek.
someone going to get the free T-shirt because you
Whatever
mispronounced
the
it
hell
on
that guy's
purpose.
name is.
Andrew, you weren't here when Tripp messed up your name.
Yeah, Andrea Moran. Yeah, so So Zizek says, cinema is the ultimate pervert art. Cinema is the ultimate pervert art. It doesn't give you what you desire. It tells you how to desire. And
that's immediately clear.
Yes, of course. And the text is from Judges.
Hallelujah.
Chapter 4, verse 21. But Jael, Haber's wife, picked up a tent peg and a hammer and went quietly to him while he lay fast asleep exhausted and drove the peg through his temple into the ground, and he died. And there's one more thing. You are following Ted Haggard at a Promise Keepers rally. Go.
Well, I am just disgusted at how many women are here where I'm trying to get serious with the fellers. You know, the ones God has ordained to keep shit straight in the bedroom, in the house, and when they read the Bible. Whoops. I said that because I want you to all know we're sinners in the hands of a super pissed off God. God might strike a stinking fork right through your head. It's all over the Bible. I've seen those lippity-bitty-bitty, bippity-bop denying liberals all running around all funny, squirting, all God's love, no violence, don't go to Iraq for war, preemptive strikes not for Jesus. Yeah, have you read the Bible? Jesus told us that shit's literal. And right there in Judges, a wife has to do what we hope your wife never has to do. Get a word from God to put a stake right through your head. You know God's behind it if a woman picks up powerful spikes and sticks it through your head. God ordained it. It's in the Bible. Blessed word of God. Now, here's the thing. I think I know where the secret sin of the age is. It's in the cinema. And sometimes Satan speaks truth to twist you like wormwood. You know that fictional creature by C.S. freaking Lewis, who I love and would never write a book mocking publicly for the SEO optimization coming out in November with Fortress Press. He said, cinema is the ultimate pervert art. You know what the ultimate art is, right? Reading the Bible. But you know what the pervert art is? Going into a dark room with other lust-filled men, looking at titties all popping around, looking at adultery and lust. You Promise Keepers, let me tell you what happens. Pegs through the head. Do you want your wife to be the hand and wrath of God on you? I say no. Zip it up unless she pulls it down. Right now, I need you to put your hands in the air. Keep it closed unless the one God has put in your life says, zip. Well. And Ted, I hope you're listening because the Holy Spirit put it on my heart. But when junk goes down, grace is there. Don't go to the movies.
237.
They were the exact same length to the second.
I have one question.
Wow. Yes.
Who did you lose to with your 4 or 5-1 records?
Well, Rob Bell quit 2 minutes in.
Tripp knew Rob
Peter
Bell
Matthews
before.
beat me. If
Really?
anyone's ever seen Peter Matthews beat me, like he made 2 jokes, I'm laughing, and then he goes, but Tripp, God's grace is with you. Then he has this huge, deep voice, and I started crying in the middle of a joke.
Oh, wow. All right, so our judge for this preach-off, first of all, a round of applause for both of us. This one goes to the judge, folks. It goes to the judge. Amy, you determine the winner.
Okay, there was a selfless, shameless plug in the middle of your sermon, Tripp.
Truth.
But I was at Promise Keepers, which is a giant capitalist industrial complex that monetizes Puritan guilt on men.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
I got to give it to my brother Tripp.
All right. Big round of applause for Phil Snider. Thanks for coming on the show, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Bye, Amy.
I'd rather hear a song from Andra Moran. How about you? Go for it.
Well, I was thinking it's a pretty brave thing to do a preach-off. Whose idea was that? Was that yours? Like Thunderdome disciples, right? It's crazy. Well, I'm going to sing a song that I wrote last summer with two of my favorite preachers in mind. I got to do worship with Katie Hayes and Suzanne Kessel and wrote the song for their worship service. If you can walk on water and turn water into wine, can I trust you to be right? I heard you stop the storm clouds and smoothed out the sails. And people say you never fail. If even the wind and sea obey you, maybe I should get in line, set my sight on your direction, to trust you every time. If you can calm the wind and you can still the waves, can you make me brave? You can feed 5,000 with 5 little loaves of bread. Can you clear up my head? And you can tell a story that makes my heart skip a beat. Can you give me what I need? If even the wind and sea obey you, maybe I should get in line, set my sight on your direction, to trust you every time. If you can calm the wind and you can still the waves, can you make me brave? They say good news comes in blessing and in every crust of bread. The thrill of hope that calls us back to living from the dead. If you can heal a blind man and rise up from the grave, can you make me brave? If even the wind and sea obey you, maybe I should get in line, set my sight on your direction, to trust you every time. If you can calm the wind and you can still the waves, can you make me brave? Yeah. Can you make me brave? Na, 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 na. Oh, Thanks, everybody.
Andra Moran. So real quick,
You want me to come back there with you?
I'll come out to you so you don't have to look over your shoulder like that.
Oh, that's gentlemanly.
Yeah, well, sometimes I'm a gentleman.
I didn't think they had those in Portland, actually.
Well, I did.
It's like a new thing.
I came from Texas, ma'am.
Oh, right. So, like, former gentleman.
Darling.
There it is.
That's right. Yes. So, okay, you have been doing this, like, professional music gig longer than most people would dare to even try.
I'm not sure that
We
that's
won't
a
say
nice
how-
thing to talk about.
No, I'm just saying you have stuck it out and you have made it work for yourself in an amazing way. And
I have a mortgage, actually.
What's that?
I even have a mortgage.
Yeah, and actually pay it, right? With
Most
music.
of the time.
Yeah. My books, the only way my books help my house are like when I have a door that it's not level, I squish them under there
Yeah, CDs work great for that, too.
to keep it level. Or like the table that wobbles like this.
Yeah.
Right. So how many CDs have you put out now?
You know, I've put out 6 English language CDs, and then I did a bilingual CD with the Reformed Church of France, so it's half in French and half in English.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. And what's your new CD called?
Okay, my latest record was crowdfunded. It's called Harmony Grove, and so I did a Kickstarter campaign 2 years ago, and that was an amazing process. Holy moly! I mean, that really gets your self-confidence in a tizzy, right?
Oh, wow. Yes. Yes. Every day. Like
Yeah.
you check it, and if somebody gives, you're on top of the world. If not, you're a complete piece of
Right.
shit. So
Yeah, like
it
nobody
just-
likes you.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's
My
right.
entire self-worth was mitigated on a $15 donation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's how easily we can be bought and sold, folks. Right there.
$15, man.
That's it.
Yeah.
But it's also very empowering because now you have gotten to do this project exactly the way you have wanted
That's
to do.
right. Yeah, and it was really cool too because when I got to do it with all of these people invested already, it felt like I wasn't doing it alone. You know, like when you're doing a project by yourself, there's this real sense of like, ooh, I hope somebody likes this. And already people were like, yeah, you know what? We're betting on you. Like, you're going to be our winning horse. We're going to bet on you and we'll just see what happens. That was a really cool thing. I'm actually getting ready to do it again, in about 6 months.
Wow.
So-
Okay. So you like to shorten your life more rapidly than I do then.
That's right. Yeah. I feel like I need a few more little crow's feet right here.
Yeah, yeah. So, what did you do differently about your project when you were able to crowdfund it versus being beholden to maybe somebody else underwriting it?
You know, I got to do some things visually with the packaging that were really different. The packaging actually kind of came about in an interesting way. We made it out of a diorama. So, like in 4th grade, but way more cool. So the whole thing is made out of, actually, while we were mixing the records, we sat with stacks of magazines and we tore out individual pages that were colors that we were looking for. And then we hand tore those pieces of paper into sections that got built onto the back of a diorama made of cereal boxes, which then became the record cover. So it's like collage diorama cereal box record cover.
It really is beautiful.
It looks great on the MP3.
Yeah,
you know,
so
all that work.
Do a Google image search for the album, if nothing else.
For Harmony Grove.
For
yeah.
Harmony Grove, just to see what it looks like. And it's a beautiful record. I've got the actual hard copy, and it's absolutely worth having in your
Because you
collection.
supported the Kickstarter.
Of course I
You
did.
sweetie pie.
Well, yes, that's right, darling. So, aside from the fact you're not, just an entertainer, I mean, obviously people come to your shows and things. You live in Nashville.
She's very entertaining.
Yes, very
Yeah,
entertaining.
I think
but
so, yeah.
you're also a worship leader. You work, in a congregational setting.
I do, yeah.
And you've got enough experience with hands-on, music and worship leading that you've co-written a book.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
I have co-written
So
a book.
Tell us about that.
So with my co-author, Suzanne Castle, who lives in Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, and I live in Nashville, we started kind of pooling our resources and really wanted to do what we were calling profit sharing, but profit with an E, right? Like, get it? Profit sharing.
I get it.
Get it?
Actually,
Okay.
no, I don't. Wait, sorry.
Okay, so wait, really? You don't? Okay, so profit, like Isaiah, like that kind of profit, sharing.
Okay, let's move on. Anyway, so.
Postmoderns. What are you
Right?
going to do?
No, I'm a disciple. I don't read the Bible. Anyway, go ahead.
Me too.
right?
Yeah, so we wrote this book called Brim, Creative Overflow in Worship Design. So I have thanks guys. So that came out through Chalice Press, and Suzanne and I are doing right now a bunch of worship consulting. So we're traveling to different cities and working with congregations on how to revitalize worship using creativity and the arts, and really trying to figure out ways to have people building worship themselves. So we're not really interested in like trickle down worship where it's, the pastor is just like, here, you do this, and assigning things. What we want is grassroots worship where people are coming up with ideas and sharing them and having a context to share. And that whole situation really develops and changes the fabric of a congregation, really changes worship.
And there are plenty of just regular paper books about worship, but you guys actually, in your electronic iteration of this, it has links to resources, to images you can use, to Music
every
you can
song
use.
that so every single, so we have 10 complete worship services that are jumping off points, and you can actually build those out into 4. So really, if you're using it the way that we intend, you can actually do 40 worship services from this thing. And so there are probably 60 or 70 song recommendations for every single chapter. And if you use the iPad version, you can actually touch it and it takes you right to iTunes to preview the song, then you can buy it. So it makes it really seamless. Really what we wanted was, what kind of book would we want to have? Like, what kind of compilation of resources would we want to get our hands on?
So if you're a worship leader, you've got $20 and you totally want to mail it in for the next year, so buy the book. Fool them into thinking you're doing a fantastic job, but it's already right there for you.
Well, kind of. I would kind of say, like, not really so much phone it in, but if you want to actually inspire yourself to get a team of people and not feel so super lonesome, you know? Because really, you don't want to have just like a plug and play worship. What you want is you want yourself to be fired up about what you're doing. Because we're tired. I mean, we have busy weeks, right? Sunday comes along. You want to be fired up. You don't want to be tired.
Absolutely. So the book is Brim, and it is available over at the Cokesbury booth at General Assembly, or Synod, as Tripp likes to call it. And
or the Apple Store.
Yes, that's right. Or you can, download it from the Apple Store or at childspress.com.
Yep.
And the CD is Harmony Grove. And I don't know about you, but we've probably talked enough. We should hear another song. What do you think?
Well, I have a song that I was realizing is actually 15 years old this year, and it's probably the song that has carried me the farthest in my career as an artist. And it's one of those songs that, when we wrote it, we were just writing something that we needed to have on a Sunday. But this is a song people ask me over and over and over to share, so I thought I'd share it tonight. This is my disciples' anthem. Well, here we are, you and me. I wonder if we're supposed to be. You can sing along if you want. Here at this table, draw me in as I am. I hope that you will understand why I come to this table of love. I am tired. I am tired. I am worn. I am broken. I am torn. But I come to this table. I let your peace fill my soul, cleanse my heart and make me whole. Here at this table of love, I've come here. I've come here to lay it all down. You've come to lift me up, and now we're forever bound by this bread and by this cup. Here at this table of love. I love hearing you sing. Sounds great. I was lost, now I'm found, since we all have gathered round. Here at this table, yeah, I was blind, but now I see all the ways you welcome me. Here Thanks for singing, everybody. That was fun.
Andra Moran, folks. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Thanks so much, Andra. All right, so how many of you here actually listen to the Homebrewed Culture Cast?
I do.
Wow, that was the most unenthused response I ever
How many of you would like Christian to feel better about himself because he's the beloved of God? How many of you started finishing more episodes when Amy joined?
True story.
That's right, that's right. And usually it has something to do with a little piece called...
Fear of the Week.
That's right. She does her own bumpers, ladies and gentlemen.
Fear of the Week.
And this piece is brought to you by the greatest harbinger of fear, all things theological, biblical, and congregational, Phillips Theological Seminary. So to speak.
Let's hear all the alumni give us a big hooty hoo.
See, they don't even follow directions.
I know, they're like, let me just yell. He said hooty hoo.
What's a hooty hoo? All right, so we got a fear of the week here with us?
I always have a fear of the week.
All right, let's do it.
Some people have a sermon in their back pocket. I have a fear in my back pocket. Christian, this one actually is directly aimed at you.
Oh, imagine that.
I'm kind of outing you here. I have a fear of fingernails. Christian has a habit of trimming them and leaving them in a pile on the freaking coffee table.
Yeah, you're not married to me. Shut up.
Don't tell me to shut up.
Not you. You are married to me.
I know.
I'm the one who shuts up.
Yes. Yeah, so my fear is just anybody's fingernails, but yours are the ones I encounter the most. Sitting there, and I feel like at any moment, they're going to start clawing my eyes out or making me throw up, chasing me around the room. I hate them. I hate fingernails. I'm going to cry.
It is really gross.
I hate them.
Have you ever been doing pastoral counseling and the person gets nervous and they chew
Stop
on it
that right now.
and drop it on your office floor and you're like, Jesus, I want to listen, but that is disgusting.
Or if they spit it, all I can think about is where it landed.
Oh.
Actually, I put 3 of them on your desk just before we left for vacation. So they'll be there waiting for you when you get back. I love you. Andy Goebel and Adam Phillips. Give them a hand.
Come on. Okay. So there's a little story that goes with this. Back in, I think it was October, I was on a panel for some environmental summit at Portland State University. And I was the first one there because I'm early. I don't like to be late. And the little name cards are on the table. So I sit in front of my name card and I start looking at the name cards down the line. And I see this Adam Phillips from the Evangelical Covenant Church. And immediately I judge him. I think, oh, great. Evangelical. We're going to get along so well. Not. And so I was like seriously considering moving the name cards over or moving down to the other end of the table. And in walks the nicest guy, Adam. And he smiles at me and he's like, hey.
I'd love to meet you for coffee.
Yeah, you were so nice. You're like, hey, are you Christian's wife? I said, yeah. And he said, well, great. I've been trying to get to know you. I've been here in Portland for about a year, and I would love to take you to coffee. So, I don't know, a couple weeks later, we go to coffee, and you proceed to pour out your heart to Christian and I, and you can go ahead and tell your story. Take it from here, Adam.
Wait, but we should go ahead and say, as a preacher, we're thinking like the 45-second version, not the 10-minute one.
You do have to tell them that.
Right now. Okay.
Go.
So I've shared this on the podcast once before. We were kicked out of the Evangelical Covenant Church in February for LGBT inclusion, which is a really sad and bittersweet and terrible experience for us. But 6 months later, we have found grace and joy and all kinds of wonderful new people that have been coming to our church because we stand on the side of inclusion. And so we lost 2 years of our funding. We were a new church plant in Portland, Oregon. My wife, Sarah, and I moved across the country to plant this new congregation in Portland called Christ Church. And we lost almost everything. We lost friends. I lost my pension. I lost 2 years of our church plant funding. We lost everybody in terms of faith family support system, but the church somehow, through God's grace, weathered that storm. And we've had 85 new visitors in like 8 weeks. It's been very bizarre. It's been a really beautiful thing.
That doesn't surprise me in the least, actually.
Yeah.
Because when you actually take a risk and step out and do God's work, things happen.
Yeah, we're trying. Yeah. So we're also part of a larger vision for neighborhood church plants, and my friend Andy Goebel here from St. John's Community Church now, and he can say a bit more about that in a moment, is with me too. And our stories are intertwined together as we are here tonight.
Yeah, Adam and Andy are our newest disciples. The funny thing is,
What did you say? Did you just say that we recruited people because other churches kicked them out for
we
being
take
too
anybody.
awesome, loving, and exclusive, and we came and joined them, supported them, and now they're going to be part of the disciples of Christ?
No, but here's the funny thing. Here's how disciples say, welcome Adam and Andy to disciples. We put them in a polity class for like 9 hours a day. First of all, what?
To learn all about your complicated polity.
Yeah, we don't have
Which
any
is non-existent.
polity.
But it takes us 9 hours to say that.
And then they said that both of them had to attend all the business meetings. Welcome to the disciples of Christ. No. We can do
creed
better.
but Christ.
We can do better. So why don't we go ahead and introduce Andy? Andy, what is your initial impression of disciples? This experience this week so far?
Well, the best thing about being in the disciples is the sense of welcome. Like, we, for a long time, I think Adam and I can both say, we tiptoed around a lot of what we really felt and what we really wanted to say in our previous context. And to be able to say what we feel, and that we really do feel that God's love is really that expansive, and have people around nod and go, yeah, welcome to the disciples. That's been the best part about being here. Y'all are welcoming.
So you've been in Portland a little longer than Adam. When did
Yeah.
you start your church there?
Well, so I moved to Portland 4 years ago and started the church planting process. And when I did, before we ever moved down, I met with one of our leaders in our conference and said, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to plant an inclusive church. And I said, is that okay? Because if not, I don't even want to do this. And he said, oh, yeah, that's okay. Go ahead and do that. Let's fast forward to 3 years later, and our church was in the process of becoming a member congregation in the Evangelical Covenant Church. And our church leadership asked the same question. Hey, we're an inclusive church. That's what we've always been. Is that okay? And they said, well, not so much now. What do you mean by inclusive? And we mean inclusive like at all levels, like welcome to be a part of the church and to be in leadership and all, because as far as we were concerned, if it isn't full inclusion, it's not inclusion at all.
Yeah.
And they said, well, that's going to be a problem. And so we're not going to be able to welcome you in as a member congregation. And that was at the point at which I said, well, okay, I guess we'll pack up our toys and go find some new friends. And we have.
It's been really awesome hanging out with y'all and verifying over 26 different beers in Columbus that not one of them could keep up with things on the West Coast.
Amen to that.
It's true. And
Sorry, Columbus.
It is.
And I'm an Ohio native, and it pains me to admit that, but it's very true.
But over those conversations, and hearing it, I wanted Amy to share a bit about what it's like to be senior minister at a First Christian church and then go from rolling her eyes at the name tag next to you to not only hearing their story, blessing them, but saying, guess what? There are thousands of congregations across the country that want to support and join you in what you're doing.
Well, that's kind of the greater narrative there is that I've become much more appreciative of what it really is to be a disciple. I've taken it for granted my whole life. being a lifelong disciple, I really didn't understand how amazing it is to be able to believe what I believe freely and not to have to worry about having my standing or even my ordination taken away for being too welcoming. I didn't know there was such a thing, but I guess I would challenge.
I think that's worth clapping for.
Yeah.
Actually, yes.
Amen to that.
Disciples have been criticized as being the church that will take anyone, but I like to subvert that. We are the church that will take anyone. Thank God.
Thank
right?
God. Thank God.
So I would challenge all of you as you head home over the next couple of days to consider ways that you can seek out partnerships with other churches that are in need of welcome. And and if you want information about like how to do that, you can contact Adam and I. Christ Church Portland, First Christian Portland, and we would love to have that conversation with you.
Because what people don't understand is that part of running a podcast and being a minister and going to the meetings, you meet all sorts of evangelicals who feel like they're not allowed to think God's awesome and loving all the time.
Yeah.
And they come out to you and are like, what do I do? And I think as a minister, the disciples of Christ, being confident that all the people here, the congregations they represent, are ready, willing, and able to support them, and even allow them to attend business meetings, is just good news.
Yes. Amen.
But since we've been nice to them, I think we want to torture them for 4 questions.
Why not?
Real quick, though, I do want to mention, one of the things, Amy will not actually, prop herself up the way Tripp and I do all the time in trying to sell her books and everything, because she just does what she does because she believes in it.
Hashtag quality human.
And she actually, when we first got to Portland, I'm going to tell this story on her really quick, and because it's pretty amazing. We got to Portland, and she said, we really need to do something that makes a real statement to people, not just rhetorically says, we're inclusive, we really care about you, we're sorry that Christians suck sometimes, but we need to really mean it. And so she went online and did a search. She found this sign that actually was created and made into a billboard by another Disciples Church in San Diego, Mission Gathering Church.
Mitch McCullen.
Rich is here.
Rich is here in the back.
Thank you, Rich.
They did this billboard, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically it says, "As a Christian, I'm sorry for all the ways you've been treated like shit in the name of God and Christianity." That's basically what it says. And so Amy says, that's a really good sign. I said, yeah, that's great. What do you want to put it on the sign? You would put it in your office? Yeah, what do you want to do? She said, no, I want to make it in a sandwich board on the front and back, and I want to wear it, and I want to go down to Pride Festival with our whole family and walk around. And I was like, yeah, that's good. And she said, no, I'm not kidding. And that's when a little bit of pee came out. I was terrified. I didn't know how people would react. And we did it. And it was probably one of the most beautiful things, one of the greatest inbreakings of the kingdom of God I've ever seen.
Well, that sign has a life that just keeps going, because this year we did it again. Adam and his wife Sarah also wore the sign at Pride, and Adam wrote a blog about it that went extremely viral.
Extremely viral.
Especially in evangelical
Millions.
circles. Yeah, millions, literally.
Millions.
Not even exaggerating. Millions of people. And so it's resonating with our community. There's a message there that we have got to passionately share.
I think the Holy Spirit's moving, and
Yes.
it's continuing. And so, as we heard earlier, the fight continues. We celebrate marriage equality, but we still work for justice in terms of people who continue to be abused or kicked out of their homes or their jobs or even their churches today. So let's keep up the fight.
And the fact is, it's all well and good, to think this is admirable and to be inspired by it and all of that. But the very fact that this kind of stuff, that taking a risk on behalf of justice or being humble enough to apologize for being an asshole, the fact that those things are newsworthy means we all have serious work to do. Because until that is not newsworthy, we've got to keep going.
All right, everyone put your hands together for Populis.
You guys feeling good? Make some noise.
my mind. We've been back and forth too many times tonight. 'Cause I'm getting tired, I'm getting tired of all of this. So I won't keep trying, I won't keep trying to quit. So keep talking like you mean it, talking like you mean it, girl. Keep saying you love me, keep talking like you mean it, talking like you mean it, girl. Wanna be something, but lie till I'm nothing. No, girl, I can't take it, no. So keep talking like you mean it, talking like you mean it, girl. Keep saying you love me. Let's make this easier, let's make this real. You won't change, but we both know the way I feel. We keep talking, but we won't come out alive. Because I'm getting tired, I'm getting tired of all of this. So I won't keep trying, I won't keep trying to quit. So keep talking like you mean it, talking like you mean it, girl. Keep saying you love me, keep talking like you mean it, talking like you mean it, girl. You say you wanna be something, but lie till I'm nothing. No, girl, I can't take it, no. So keep talking like you mean it, talking like you mean it, girl. Keep saying you love me. Somebody in the Homebrew podcast, make some noise tonight. Come on. All right. We're going to need you guys' help a little bit right here. So if you're with me, make some more noise. Come on. Are you with me? Are you with me? We need everybody in here to sing along with us real quick, if that's all right. So it kind of goes like this. Are you ready? So keep talking like you mean it, talking like you mean it, girl. Sing that with us, Columbus. So keep talking. That's not bad. I bet we can get a little bit louder. Are you ready? So keep talking like you mean it, talking like you mean it, girl. One more time, pump. Let me hear it. So keep. Oh, that's beautiful. One, so keep talking like you mean it, talking like you mean it, girl. Keep saying you love me, keep talking like you mean it, talking like you mean it, girl. Say you wanna be something, but lie till I'm nothing. No, girl, I can't take it, no. So keep talking like you mean it, talking like you mean it, girl. Keep saying you love me, keep talking like you mean it, talking like you mean it, girl. One more time. So keep talking like you mean it, talking like you mean it, girl. Thank you. Come on, man. Take me away, 'cause I can't pretend this is honest. And I can't escape this feeling that we're running
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
All right, we got Trey and Carter back up here from our new favorite band, Populis. Which, incidentally, they do have their new EP.
Yes.
And posters in the back. And please pick one of those up along with a copy of Blood Doctrine on your way out.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Buy our CD, get Blood Doctrine free, right?
No. Something like that, yes. Something
Very
like that.
similar items. The book
So,
and the CD.
okay, you guys have been actually playing music together for quite a while. So where did this concept, this new project, because the Populous is a new thing.
Yeah.
So where did this project come from? How'd you come up with it?
Yeah, so prior to this, me and Trey did a band for a while called Everyday Sunday, which was originally Trey's project that we had been touring for a while. And kind of how it all came about is me and Trey started doing a lot of producing and stuff for other artists and stuff. And we realized we had a lot of the same musical interests and wanted to do a band as well. And so this is kind of our whole new thing. And we just debuted our new EP about a month ago with Switchfoot.
We got a chance before that to start. Oh, yeah. We started producing for other artists and did some remixes for some other bands and started getting opportunities as we were working together. We had the opportunity to write for an artist on Capitol Records and or write with him. And we realized that we
could not live without each other.
Yeah, we enjoyed doing it together. So as we were touring and kind of producing for other artists, we decided to start on this project. So it's very new. The EP's only been out like 3 weeks, and we realized it's really bad timing because Apple Music just came out and nobody's buying CDs anymore.
Including us. Including us.
So we're kind of, seeing if we can do it anyway. But we're glad you guys are here, and we're excited to show people our music, and it's been good.
And the style and the content of the music is a little different than what you've been doing before. So, where does that shift come from? What's your kind of thinking behind that?
I think there's kind of always a shift when you're, an artist making music. You always have different desires for what you want to do. So as far as what Trey's done in the past isn't always what he's going to want to do in the future. And same for me. And I think we'll always be like that with our next record. It'll always be a constant changing and trying to do what we want to do musically.
Yeah, I mean, both of us and Chris, our drummer, who's not here with us right now, all of us in the band are Christians, and our faith is very important to us. But we're also artists, and I'm sure all of you guys have your own callings in life, and all of you are here for different reasons, and everybody listening to the podcast has their calling. But we're called to be artists and make music. And one thing that's always been super important to me, and I know is important to all of us, is genuineness and honesty in the art and the music. And so to be able to do that, we definitely want to bring hope to people, but we want to be real with what we do. And so like Carter was saying, I think that's where it's always changing, And so that's the biggest thing for us, is just really bringing a transparency to what we do, and hopefully with that honesty being able to connect with other people.
Now, some people don't really realize how incredible this is, but, I mean, you've only been doing Populous now for, what?
Like 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Since the EP. We started working on it about, this last year, so not even a year ago.
Yeah. And so you guys already have over 20,000 fans on Facebook. I find that both amazing and a little nauseating.
We are nauseating.
We're excited.
Tons of reasons.
We're excited that people are paying attention. We have some pretty cool opportunities. We're getting ready to head to Europe on tour in a couple weeks, and we'll be out on the West Coast. So we're definitely filling up the books, but we also know we have a long way to go to tell people about us. So if you ever want to host us for a house party and you're listening to this podcast, we'll definitely come party with you guys on our way to the next show. So,
And I know it's cool to see these guys in this intimate setting, but usually these guys play for like 2, 3, 4, 10,000 people at a time. So it's really a special treat to have them here. And I do recommend that while you have them here and a chance to sign a CD for you or a poster, to pick one up and meet them personally, because they go international from here, and it's very impressive. So.
We love all the Homebrewed podcasts, as all of you do, right? Yeah?
We're big fans of you guys and big believers and supporters, and so thanks for letting us be here.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so let's move on to the last thing so then we can get to the group sing-along of Bohemian Rhapsody, which is the whole reason everybody came tonight in the first place, correct? So you guys submitted these questions, correct?
A lot of questions.
And Tripp has said that he will answer them efficiently and effectively. What we did not explain was this is in a little game we like to call postmodern Magic 8 Ball.
But tomorrow we're going to hang out and actually record a real podcast and talk about them.
We will actually respond to these questions.
Yeah, we're not
in
dismissing
earnest.
you personally. We're dismissing you for entertainment value, but we'll pick it up later on the internet.
And then we'll validate you later.
Because I've always wondered, would it be as funny as I think it is if I do like 6-word quotes from postmodern philosophers to dismiss really important questions? But I'll probably use accents because if they sound European, it's more awesome.
So I should
Here we
explain that the answers to these questions were written before we ever had the questions. Because, of course, in a postmodern construct, you reject the very binary of question-answer in the first place.
It's a predicament.
So it didn't matter when we wrote them. We just wrote them. So if one of your questions is chosen, please do not run up and storm the stage now. But after we're finished, you're welcome to come up and get not only a homebrewed Christianity T-shirt, but also an extra pint glass to take home with you. The Culture Cast pint glasses, which have been much coveted. Question 1. What does the middle initial H stand for in Jesus H. Christ?
This is horrible. I prefer to defer.
Wow. Okay, that was weak.
No, it all depends on if you've read On Grammatology or not. 5 points. Anyone finish the whole thing?
Anyone?
Yep.
Josh.
Yes! He should get
Josh
Toulouse.
Toulouse did. And he has seen and understood every single question that I posed to you in the last game. So he wins.
Josh wins.
All right, question 2. If Franklin Graham is an asshole, if Franklin Graham is an asshole, you're welcome. What part of the body of Christ is he?
Oh, wow. Now, this one's actually funny. Use a French accent, say it again, followed by a very emphatic oui.
Shit.
So
Yeah,
you
you
have
think it's funny because it kicks it back to me.
No, but you have to read in a French accent.
I know.
And then with all that deferring angst, say oui.
Yeah, I got it.
Has he ever talked to you in a French accent before?
Really badly.
Yeah, get ready. If Franklin Graham is a asshole, what, how do you say, part of the body of Christ is he? Maybe. Dude, it's late. That's the best you get. Question 3.
Well, let's do them real fast.
Yeah, let's do this.
Question 3. Explain the vocative in Romans 2, verse 1, and how it affects what comes before in Romans 18.
I'm not your father.
27. I didn't even need to finish the question. All right, there we go. All right, next question. Explain why it is possible for Jesus to have been gay.
Locate yourself and try again.
Does the Bible support polyamorous relationships? If so, how do we bring that conversation into the church? I asked a question.
I know. You ask because you know. You're all getting the lyrics for Bohemian Rhapsody on your phone.
Yes, please pick up the lyrics to Bohemian Rhapsody. And by the way, if you come up here, you may get a pint glass and a T-shirt, but you're also going straight to hell. So,
come on, hit me, Amy.
What should Japheth's daughter's name have been?
Shh, they're watching.
All three people that remember this story laughed really hard.
Oh, now I get it. Okay, every time Jesus saw Christian Piatt, would he have given him a noogie? Or would he have rubbed his head like a magic ball for good luck?
Answers oppress the quest.
Wow. Wah, wah.
You're just saying that because you don't want people rubbing your head when we get done.
It's a good little head to rub.
I do.
Ooh, she said it's a good head to rub. That's an invitation.
That's what she said. Oh, wait. All right, so I'm serious. You should have the lyrics to Bohemian Rhapsody.
I know, but do like
on your
4 in a
phones.
row because I wrote a ton of these things.
Oh, are we doing more? I'm running out.
Do them really fast.
I'm running out of pint glasses, but yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Sharing is caring. That wasn't an answer.
How do you interpret the acid trip that is Ezekiel?
How about you go inscribe someone else?
Was Jesus married?
Perhaps.
Is it fair to say that the story of Sodom and Gomorrah is primarily about the sin of raping angels? Therefore, there's more.
Oh my.
Therefore, mixing angels and people in a way God seems not to like, and also about not showing hospitality to the stranger.
I advise you seek counsel elsewhere.
Actually, I advise you to seek counseling for writing that awful question in the first place.
If there are parallel universes...
Hey, now, who's running this show?
Running the show? I've not noticed it being ran.
Nobody's running the show, but we have the microphones.
Tip your bartenders.
Phillips Theological Seminary, folks.
Oh my God. If there are parallel universes, does God exist in both of them at the same time?
Your question is marked by the absolute gratification of human desires and the absolute neglect of human needs. One more.
Oh, wow.
What would Jesus say to Fred Phelps?
Amusing, self-righteous charlatan.
Whoa, very nice, very nice, very nice.
That was hilarious.
Postmodern 8-ball, folks.
We couldn't have planned a better last one.
Oh, that was
But
brilliant.
you know
That
what's
was
even
brilliant.
cooler? Wayne's World, so you better get your vocals ready. And if you happen to be employed for music and can hit the harmonies at the end when we Figaro, you should just come up here for group pictures while singing.
November 4th, Theology Nerd Boot Camp with Jack Caputo and Tripp Fuller is going on. So go to Homebrewed Christianity.
Yeah, we are impersonating 6 philosophers talking about God over the course of the day.
Wow. And then also November 5th through the 7th is Subverting the Norm 3, where Tripp will be as well.
And Catherine Keller.
Yes,
And
Catherine
Phil
Keller and
Snider.
some other amazing people. And maybe me if we find a church to sponsor my flight.
Anyone in that region?
It'll be at Drury University, Springfield, Missouri. And the discount code, only for people here and the other few people who listen to the show, if you go to
internet,
tinyurl.com/subvert3 is STNGA, Subverting the Norm General Assembly. And you get a discount. We've got those up here if you need to find that out. So thank you so much for sticking around
it's been
with
wonderful.
us tonight.
Give everyone who participated in our mayhem a hand.
Yes.
And the Fader Dominator.
That's
Let's
right.
rock.
And our wonderful bartenders. So now, let us, in a room packed full of ordained people, do what Garth always wanted us to do.
Sing Queen.
Turn this one on.
You may not do this sitting down. You must
Stand up.
It's just fantasy.
At the altar of Freddie Mercury.
Escape from reality. Open your eyes. Look up to the skies and see. I'm just a poet. Ain't no sympathy. Easy come, easy go. Little high, little low. Anyway the wind blows, does it really matter to me? Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled that trigger, now he's dead. Mama, life had just begun.
pants are not tight enough for this song.